Tulsi Gabbard leaves the Democratic Party and cue the gushing flow of the orgies, most of which comes from Tim Pool. No offense to Tim. I like Tim. Anyone who smacks a big tech CEO upside their head is alright by me. But my goodness, does he simp his balls off for this lass, and I can't quite figure out why. Now, you know what I'm like. I like to do a bit of a different analysis than most people, and I'm quite blunt in my take. So I will say this. Tulsi Gabbard, in my opinion, is mere snake oil for the most part. Now, my reason for this conclusion is based on the rather peculiar volume of attention around her person. She's not even a sitting member of Congress. She hasn't been since 2020 when she ran for president, and that's what put her on the political map, so to speak. She was the one who ended Kamala Harris's presidential ambitions, so much so she dropped out of the race before the primary of California even took place. She was propped up by the media as the sort of next of kin to the Clintonian line of politics, except with no political shrewdness, yet more incompetence and unlikability. And since being picked as VP, she has performed exactly as expected. A useless idiot who pivots all of her failures on the labels of identity politics. No surprise there, so Gabbard's assessment of her was right on the money. But this is what makes Tulsi kind of unusual. Despite not being a sitting member of Congress for 2 years now, she does, through social media, I imagine, give the impression she carries an outside semblance of influence on the political landscape, which, in my opinion, is not exactly very genuine. The current US apparatus, such as it is a clowning shit show, run by a bunch of headless morons with all the political finesse of a bunch of adolescent drug addicts. In this murky abyss of abundant stupidity, especially in the Democratic Party, mind you, the bar for sanity is incredibly low. Couple this with the fact that in the modern world, everyone seems to have the attention span of a drunken gnat. If you can appear to keep your head while everyone else around you is seemingly losing theirs, merely saying something sensible makes you look infinitely better than your political contemporaries. By no means is this an indicator of greatness, merely above the incredibly low bar. It's pretty much the opposite of AOC shtick. Whereas Tulsi appears to be sane and rational, AOC garners attention by being a complete retard and batshit insane. This is the condition of the environment, and this is what affords Tulsi her capacity to look quite decent. Now here is the trick. Her gimmick is entirely based on saying the same thing, the appearance of sanity. Another thing that very much helps her is her appearance. She is a total babe, and don't tell me that isn't a factor, it absolutely is. And she rocks the sex appeal very well. Now, I am not that easily swayed by the sex appeal for 2 reasons. A, I am handsome as fuck, and B, I am old enough to know when I see everyone gushing their guts over some lass, my reaction has become one of skepticism. I would rather be the one on the outside with a cocked eyebrow than join the horde of whores. Politics is about policy, and there is never any discussion in the mainstream about this woman's voting record. She gets dragged onto Fox News every so often for her outspoken views on the Democratic Party politicking. Her outspokenness is against the branding, not Democratic Party policy. There might be a reason for that, because her voting record, for the most part, is quite far left. She's anti-gun, anti-nuclear, and pro-green energy. So before all the Republicans rev their simping engines up a gear, this woman is not one worthy of your ranks. She's relatively young, she still talks politics, so she wants to be a career politician. She's effectively fleeing a sinking ship. Now let me try and end this on a bit of a different note, and I'm not particularly optimistic about this appraisal. However, there is a sliver of truth in this that I have to be honest about. While she was also part of the Young Leaders program headed by the World Economic Forum, which would be an instant black mark for me, this does not necessarily mean she took all of it to heart. If she saw the inside of the machinery, she would be far better equipped than most to speak out against it. That is true. Whether or not you believe her sincerity, on the other hand, I will leave that up to the listener to decide for themselves. She has come out against the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset. That's good. She dared to have the brass balls to call out faux Saint Obama as just a frontman, and took a stance against the Disinformation Governance Board. Very good. And Hillary Clinton called her a Russian asset. Excellent. Now, as far as her voting record for the stuff I counted against her earlier goes, I do not know enough about the party dynamics of Congress to say for certain what is of her own conviction and what is done as part of the game, so I won't comment on that. I will say, though, one thing that does swing in her favor is her voting record is remarkably consistent against state overreach, particularly when it comes to privacy. So in that vein, it is consistent with the rhetoric against the Davos elite. So take the last with a grain of salt. Decide for yourself whether that dose is potent enough to put yourself 6 feet under. And that is all for today, and I will see you all next time.